Shut that thing up. Shut that thing up.
That's crazy, bro.
This was your season to say either we're going to be in the playoffs and having a chance of hosting and still had a potential to be in a SEC championship.
I feel like the tenure of Mickey Loomis as general manager has to come to an end. They flying from Auburn, Alabama to Houston. What is that, like a 2-hour flight?
Yeah, I think
you
so.
Can't sit down for 2 hours. I'm finna get this pillow. I'll see y'all, boys.
I think there should be a cap on college ages. I think they should have a cap. I think if you turn 24, get them out the door. That's the rule. 24, get them out the door.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into yet another episode of the Fitz Take Podcast. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. He's your guy, Elijah Nixon, a.k.a. the Pride of Connecticut, a.k.a. the Pride of South Carolina, especially now that basketball season is back in full swing and the ladies are going on the quest to go and do it again for a national championship. Guys, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would greatly appreciate that. If you are a subscriber already, we thank you for that, as we are at 237 subs right now as of us recording this episode at 3:38 p.m. Also, be sure to follow us on Spotify. If you're a listener of podcasts, go over there and follow us. If you're not a listener, follow us anyway, because you're always supporting what we do, and we would greatly appreciate that. Also, follow me, Elijah, and my production company all on our social media platforms that will be linked down in the description, and we will greatly appreciate that as well. Elijah, it was a busy week last week with the sports world, from basketball, football. We had a lot of stuff going on back and forth. The election, all of that happened last week, man. What was your week like?
It was tough, man. I'm just happy it's over. I know for election night, I had to get up at I had to be at work at 3 in the morning. Then, I had to go to Morgan City, come back. It was a 3-hour drive. Well, it was an hour and a half both sides, so it was 3 hours. And then, football season is here. So we had those long nights on Friday where, you're up to 2 to sometimes to 11. Then you bounce back on Saturday, you got UL. So it's you're just happy that, that week is over, but you got to survive another one. So we see how this one goes. But sports is here. You're going to hear some clapping in the background. That is not me at all. You hear clapping and cheering. That is Kara. She has South Carolina and North Carolina State on in the living room. She's watching the game. So if you hear something you hear some screaming, that is her. This is a sports household, and she enjoys her South Carolina Gamecock. So if you hear that, that is her.
That's real, man. That's real. Yeah, and if you guys don't know it by now, we're both working in the TV industry. We're both reporters in TV, so that's why we're always talking about how busy of a schedule we are, because we don't work a 9-to-5 job. We have a start until the job is done type of job, in the way that it is. So last week was pretty hectic for us with everything that we had going. But we still make time for y'all, man, to make sure that we put out great content for y'all with these shows. So with that, let's hop right into it, and let's go into take number one. It is our first play, and it's LSU absolutely getting dismantled in Death Valley, seeing their own death happen on national television. The Tigers lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide 42-13. Yes, that was the score. I'm sure if you watched it, you know exactly why. 42-13 was the final of that game. Jalen Milroe only threw for 109 yards, and he only needed to because he rushed for a career best 185 yards on 12 carries, and not one, not two, not three, but 4 rushing touchdowns, including a 72-yarder that was essentially the backbreaker for the Tigers defense. The lone touchdown that LSU scored in this game came in garbage time with, I think, less than a minute to go in the entire game. It was rough to watch. Obviously, me and Elijah were both at the UL and Arkansas State game for their homecoming game. But once we got back to the station, we watched the back half of the contest, and it was rough. Elijah, now that we've had a chance to kind of digest it a little bit, we know how big this loss was for LSU, because it essentially knocks them out of the college football playoffs, as they're now ranked 21 in the AP polling. But how just demoralizing is a loss like this, especially after you come off of a bye week and now everybody's looking and saying, "What the heck were you doing for the past 2 weeks?"
Um, I want to say yes, demoralizing, but I blame it on Brian Kelly. They remember when he said in that press conference, just run with the quarterback. That's what Alabama did yesterday. So again, I blame it on Brian Kelly. You gave the blueprint to beat yourself, but honestly, they was gonna do that anyway. Jalen Monroe's great all year with using his legs to make plays. Of course, he got some guys on the outside like Ryan Williams that can go up and catch the ball and make some plays on the outside. But Milroe, he's been doing well with his legs throughout the year. So I think LSU needed to realize that stopping him first from getting outside the pocket should have been the number one thing, containing him inside the pocket and making him beat you with his arm, because the teams that he lost to, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, they made sure that they kept him in the pocket and said, "Hey, throw the ball." And that's what LSU failed to do yesterday. Now, on top of that, of course, penalties hurt the Tigers a lot. But again, another thing that you can do to keep the explosive offense off like that is running the football and executing on third downs. LSU didn't look good on offense at all yesterday. There was nothing that looked like it will work. Even if they went to a double reverse trick play pass down the field, nothing that LSU can do was working against the Crimson Tide yesterday, and it's really demoralizing because pretty much this was your season. Um, this was your season to say either we're going to be in the playoffs and having a chance of hosting a first round playoff game, and still had a potential to be in a SEC championship game. And now that you fell short against Alabama, you pretty much could just chalk it up and start to get ready for next year. Get ready for the Cheerios Bowl, whatever bowl you're about to get into, and get ready for next year. So
They be having some wild ball game names, bro. I remember a couple of years ago when they went to the Citrus Bowl, and it was the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and I was like, why wouldn't like Tropicana or somebody sponsor the name of that? You out there in Orlando, and they get oranges and all this stuff like that. But now the Cheerio Bowl is crazy. The milk and cereal bowl, all them bowls, because they're gonna be a part of it. They're not gonna be a part of a meaningful one. It's unfortunate, because people had a lot of high hopes for this team, believing that things could get put together, but it's not the same as the Saints, but it has a few similarities in the fact of, like, you had some major injuries. Jacobian Guillory goes down early in the season. Harold Perkins goes down. And so now you're trying to build around things that you didn't think that you would have to. Obviously Braden Swinson would go ahead and step up. Other guys on the defensive line plugging and playing in different spots to be able to fill the void. But ultimately, like you said, Brian Kelly gave away the secret sauce. And obviously teams can watch film, but it was like to definitively sit at the microphone publicly where your bite is going to be out there and say, if I was a defense or if I was an offense, I would run the quarterback against us, knowing the next game that you would play is against quite arguably one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the country is insane. But with that being said, every rushing quarterback that they have faced has had success against them. You look at Texas A&M when Marcel Reed came into the game, he did not throw that many passes once he touched the field. The brother rushed for, what was it, 62 yards and 3 touchdowns, which resulted in them winning that football game. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, before he went out with an injury, he had 88 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries. If he doesn't go out, LSU loses that game because they only beat him by 3. So when you look at it, the deficiencies that they have, and right now, I went back and I listened to Brian Kelly's post-game press conference after the game, and a lot of the hard questions were asked, like, how do you fix this now? What are the deficiencies? You talk about this. Is this a recruiting thing that you're missing out on? And he just kept pointing back to the fact that I take the full blame on this. We have to coach them better. We have to put them in better positions. And a lot of people ask, well, what is a better position? For me, I feel like Alabama's Jimmys were just better than LSU's Joes on that particular night. That's what it simply boiled down to. You got really, really talented guys on that LSU roster, but Alabama simply outplayed them because they were more skilled than they were. Their quarterback was better than everybody on their defense for that night. You can game plan. That's the thing. Sometimes you can game plan all you want to, but if you got a hemp over there, you can game plan around a Jalen Milroe all you want to. But when he is on, he's on. You can game plan around a Travis Hunter all you want to, but when he's on, he's on. Some guys, there's just no way to game plan around it. You would have liked to seen LSU play a little bit better in this scenario, especially like we said, they were coming off of a bye week. But at this point, your defense is what it is. So now in your 3 remaining games, you're going to see Florida with DJ Lagway. He going to run the football. You're going to see Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. He going to run that football. And then you're going to see Oklahoma, who I'm not sure they have a quarterback, but I think the freshman was filling in a while back. And I don't know if he's a dual threat or not. But I guarantee you, if anybody on that roster is capable of running the football from the quarterback position, they're going to do it because it's on tape now. Whatever you put on film is what teams are going to exploit. If they see that you cannot stop the run with the quarterback, they finna run Q power, they finna run zone read, they finna run QB zone, they finna run QB blast. Every QB run that you could possibly think of, they coming at it. And until you stop it, they're going to continue to do that. So LSU loses. They're now 6-3 on the season. Like I said, they fall to number 21 in the AP polling. Now they will try to pick up the pieces. They will face off against the Florida Gators on Saturday. That game will air on KTC if you're in the Lafayette area at 2:30. Florida's 4-5. So essentially, this is a game that you go in and you feel like you're supposed to win it, but there's no guarantees in the SEC. LSU is going to have to absolutely come out and play their best brand of football in order to come out on top. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's make some forward progress and go into take number 2. It is something that Elijah called for, and I know somebody said in the comments one time, Stevie Wonder could have saw that this was going to happen, but I got to give my boy credit. He said that Dennis Allen needed to be fired, and after they lost to the Carolina Panthers last Sunday, that Monday, Dennis Allen was relieved of his duties as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints after a 3-year stint with the Black and Gold, in which he had an overall record of 18-25, starting the year at 2-0, and then eventually going on a 7-game losing streak and ultimately bowing out from his head coaching position. Darren Rizzi has taken over, and in his role as interim head coach, the Saints come out and they beat the Falcons. So they're feeling really good about themselves because he comes in and, he changes a lot of the things that they had going on. I saw that he was saying that he added in an activation period, which essentially just means he started telling them boys to stretch before practice, which I can't believe that at the professional level they weren't doing that. That in itself should have gotten him fired, because what you mean y'all going out here running plays and you not stretching? What are you, You blow out, bro, you will. Listen, I ain't played ball in a long time, and I understand. If you don't do some high knees, karaoke, touch your toes, something, and you blow your whole hamstring out. What? You tear it up. So, but Darren Rizzi assumes the position. I'm just saying, bro, you mess yourself up. You will mess yourself up. The Saints get the victory to snap that 7-game losing streak. So there's a lot of feel good around the facility right now. But the question is, who will be the next head coach, or who do you believe, Elijah, should be the next head coach for the New Orleans Saints going forward?
Go get what's my gymnast from LSU?
I know you're not talking about Livy Dunn.
Yeah, Livy Dunn. Help
All right, man.
Help him stretch, man. Help him stretch.
All right, man. He's trolling. He is absolutely trolling.
No, I could get on a serious note. I get the offensive coordinator from the Lions, Ben Johnson, I think his name is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and it's for a couple reasons. Of course, Lions offense is looking really well. They're moving to anybody can score a touchdown in that offense. They're playing well with Jared Goff, which it looks good. Two running back system, essentially what the Saints need. But what I also say is this: you got Todd Bowles in that division. You got Raheem Morris in that division, and you got the guy from Carolina and the head coach in that division. I'm not sure what his name is, but
Dave Canellis.
yeah. So you got
Yeah.
so that's two defensive guys and one offensive guy, and I would say go get a defensive coordinator, but the days of the NFL where games were 3-0 is over with. 6-3 is over with. So, not no offense to none of the defensive coordinators out there. I love the defensive coordinators. When you got Aaron Glenn from Detroit, you got I can't think of my man Brian Flores from Minnesota. I love those guys, but go get Ben Johnson because it's a score league now. And I think that with what you going against, especially with the Todd Bowles and especially with the Raheem Morris, is you're going to have to put up points to win football games. Those 3-0, 6-0 things don't exist anymore. This is not the 2000 Ravens. People are going to put points on the board. Flags will be thrown if you get hit, like how they hit you back in the day. So you're going to get those yards and stuff. But I like the creativity from Ben Johnson. If he can keep the pieces there with Alvin Kamara and draft really, really well, I think that they can right the ship pretty fast in New Orleans. I just think that NFC South isn't the best division, but I think that with the Saints, they could turn things around pretty quickly with an offensive guy, especially with Kamara leading the way. And then you're going to get Chris Olave back, and then you're going to get I'm not a fan of Derek Carr, but if you can do something with him,
Come
uh,
on, man. He played well today, bro.
hey
He
man,
played well.
hey, if Ben Johnson can make Jared Goff look good, go ahead, Derek, do what you got to do. But I just think that that's the guy that you go get. If you're looking for anything, go get that guy from Detroit because I think that'll be the biggest help in New Orleans.
Yeah. Right now, with the way I'm feeling, I feel like Darren Rizzi has to be considered. If you're talking about continuity, if you're talking about keeping guys with a high morale, especially what they have, I think, what is it now? 2-8. That's 10 games. So that means they have seven more games. If they win out, bro, you got to get that man the job because whatever he did worked. And from a morale standpoint, it's going to keep guys feeling like, okay, here's a guy that we can absolutely believe in, that he believes in us, we believe in him. He gives us an opportunity to win, and they can go and show that. I think you have to give him the nod. In the case that doesn't happen, my pick is Aaron Glenn. Number one, because he coached on the New Orleans Saints staff not too long ago. I think it was 2016 or something like that he was a defensive backs coach on the team. So he's been a part of the culture. He knows the standard of what it takes to be a part of the New Orleans Saints brand, the expectations that they have of what they want to do in terms of winning football games there in New Orleans. As much as people say that, you don't want a defensive minded coach after you come off of having a defensive minded head coach, I feel like you still need that because he's going to build up and continue to aid on the side of the ball where the Saints are, I feel like, the oldest at. You got Cam Jordan, you got DeMar. Each level of the defense, you have somebody that's probably on the back half of their career. Tyrann Mathieu, Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis. So Aaron Glenn is going to know what they need to go and get drafting wise in the free agency to go and continue to keep that defense at a very high level. Clint Kubiak, I believe, should be retained. I think if Aaron Glenn would get the job, Clint Kubiak should be retained so he can be given an opportunity to truly show, like, all right, if I have a fully healthy roster for the start and towards the end of the season, when I know that I have a head coach that has drafted me some players that can give me some depth in case somebody gets hurt, because nobody stays healthy throughout the entire season. But if we can see what his offense looks like when you have a fairly healthy team throughout an entire season, I feel like he has earned the opportunity to at least see that, because you saw what it looks like in 2 games. Let's see what it can look like stretched throughout an entire season. And then ultimately, I feel like the tenure of Mickey Loomis as general manager has to come to an end. He's had a great run. They went and got Drew Brees. They went and hired Sean Payton to be the perfect quarterback and head coach marriage that we've seen in a very long time. You think about like a Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning. You think about a Mike McCarthy and a Aaron Rodgers. You think about the glory days of a Ben Roethlisberger and a Mike Tomlin. You think about all of those pair of coaches. Sean Payton and Drew Brees go hand in hand together. But once those 2 guys left, it's kind of been like, what have you done for me lately? It's the type of league that we're in right now. And lately, they just haven't figured it out. Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. You put Spencer Rattler in a couple of games, and it doesn't really work out. You get Dennis Allen in as the head coach. He goes 18-25. I think that Gil Benson honestly will have to look Mickey in the eye and have a tough conversation. I know the guy's been around for somewhat of 20 years, but I think they're going to have to sit down and at the end of the season have that tough conversation and say, look, thank you so much for what you've done for this organization, but I think we need to go in a different direction right now, and go out there and see who you can get. Louis Riddick. I saw his name floating around as somebody that could potentially become a general manager. And I mean, we've seen him at countless pro days and with the NFL draft and all that stuff like that. So he has an eye for talent. He knows what good talent looks like. Give him a shot. Let's see what happens. Now, I'm also saying having a black general manager and a black head coach is very unlikely happening, whether that be in New Orleans or anywhere in the NFL. I don't know if that will happen, but I'm just saying, if that is my pick for a head coach and for a general manager, I'm going Louis Riddick, and I am going Aaron Glenn. So we will see in the coming weeks. I think that decision will be made at the end of the season. I think Gail will, give Darren Rizzi a respectful amount of time to have a prove it rest of the season himself, because like I said, if they finish undefeated or have a winning record, he is number 1 candidate out of the gate, because you got it. Looking internally is always some of the best hires that you can get. Obviously, in this situation for New Orleans with Dennis Allen, it wasn't. But he would, definitely have to be someone that you would honestly have to consider. So we shall see what the New Orleans Saints will do when it comes to hiring their next head football coach after firing Dennis Allen after going 2-7 here in the 2024 season. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and hop into our take number 3, and let's fly out. We're going to labor here for a little while. We got a few topics to talk about. First up, Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia, the man on campus that has won some big ball games for the Commodores, is suing the NCAA over his eligibility and NIL. Pavia is seeking a temporary restraining order against the NCAA, which is preventing him from playing the 2025-26 season based on his attendance at junior college during the 2021 season. Pavia transferred to Vanderbilt for the 2024 season after spending 2 years at New Mexico State. He was the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. He did not hold any time or any offers out of high school. He's from Albuquerque. And like I said, he filed for this order to get an opportunity to continue to play in college for 1 more year. Elijah, what's your take on this? I know we've seen, especially with COVID years and all that stuff, we've seen 7th, 8th, and 9th year seniors getting a chance to play, throughout all of it. Do you think that this is a big issue? Do you think that, he'll get what he's, rightfully wanting in this situation? How do you think it'll turn out?
I think you should go to the XFL. Go ahead and get you a job, buddy. Go ahead and try to try out for the NFL Combine if you can, because I don't get it. Look, I want you to. I want to read the accomplishments from the New Mexico State transfer guy. All right, what did you do at New Mexico? Now you won the 2023 Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year, huh? You're not gonna go to Vanderbilt and win a Heisman. What are we talking about? You go to Vanderbilt, 9 out of 10, you probably win 4 or 5 games out the year. Lucky you win 6, right? But at the end of
They've
the day,
done
you're
that.
not, huh?
They have done that. They won 6 now.
Once
I
you
give
go
them that.
6, but that's not gonna get you a Heisman. That's not gonna get you to be like, oh, he's the top quarterback in next year's draft. Not saying that you can't flourish on the next level, my man, but you definitely can. Who knows? We've seen people do worse. I mean, better. But listen to me. Listen to me really, really well. What are you going to accomplish if you come back to Vanderbilt? What are you going to accomplish? Huh? A SEC championship? That's not happening. And I know they're giving out money with NIL deals, and I wish they was doing that when I was in high school. I wish that we could rewind the time and do the same thing, but we can't. Move on, bro. You beat Alabama this year. You got a couple times to be upset alerts. You could go ahead and beat a couple more teams on your way out the door. And then on top of that, you put enough things on tape, you probably could get a shot at the NFL. Like, what are we going back to college for? I want these guys, and I hope not just you, but the guy that been at Miami for 10 plus years. We about the same age. This tight end, we about the same age. What are you accomplishing with 18-year-olds on campus, my boy? You are really the same age as me. Life goes on. The world still spins. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, it's okay. I graduated at 22. Okay, I think there should be a cap on college ages. I think they should have a cap. I think if you turn 24, get them out the door. That's the rule. 24, get them out the door. I don't think you should be there no more after 24. Get them out the door because there's nothing else for you to accomplish. You got your degree. If you got a chance to play in the league, you got a chance to do what and who, what, where. You got a chance to do all that stuff. Get them out. Because at the end of the day, man, like, it's just, I don't even feel right seeing a 25-year-old walking around campus. There's no point. There's no point. So for my guy that's at Vanderbilt, I salute your playing career. I know you went to JUCO. You didn't have any offers. Things like that happen. You got to Vanderbilt. You played well. Again, you have a chance to go to the NFL and make the money. If it's about NIL deals, you have a chance to go to NFL and make the money. And if not, try the XFL, man. The Rock, you know what? Put some NIL money in the XFL, The Rock, because you could go ahead and get some of these guys that still want a chance to play football. You can get them over there to let them play football for a few years and make some money. I don't know what they're making that salary with the XFL, but let them do that because it's no use for them to be on college campus anymore. It's a young man's game. 18 to 23. 24, get them out the door. That's my rule.
24, get them out the door is so crazy, bro. You know, I'm kind of 50-50 about this, man. I don't want to sit on the fence about it, but part of me is like, when the guys have the medical red shirts and they're, going through a lot and they're trying to get on the field and play, they keep tearing their knee up, they mess up their rotator cuff, like all this stuff like that. Like, I get it. I don't know if he will necessarily win the case, but I feel like with that COVID year, like everybody got an extra year. So it's like, if he's due his extra year, then you should give it to him. That's kind of how I feel about that. But to some degree, I do agree with you. At some point, brother, it's like, hang it up. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. You had a good run. But now it is time to move into the real world. Let's turn some of these NIL. I shout out to my guy Reggie Calhoun that played at LC some years before I got there, and he talked about, like, how do guys transition from college football into the professional world rather than into being a professional football player. And he was like, you could turn a lot of these NIL deals into opportunities to go and work. If you have been basically a brand ambassador for a lot of these companies, who's to say you can't go and shake hands with them and say, let me go and become CEO in your company or the CFO in your company or continue to be a brand ambassador, put me on salary and all this stuff like this. An easy way to do that. And you could just continue to ride that wave of that. So I wish Diego Pavia the best. I hope that, things get resolved for him and he gets the opportunity to play again if that is what he really chooses to do. But after that, brother, it's time. It's time to hang it up. After that, it's time to hang the cleats up. If you don't get no chance at the next level to be a professional football player, then after that, it's time to hang them up. It's a tough thing. Trust me, I had to go through it. At some point, the cleats have to be hung up. But when you do, the next step is figuring out, what do you need to do from there. So we'll see what happens with Diego Pavia. But moving forward, the Auburn basketball team got into some wild mess on Friday. Reading this article from suggest.com. The Auburn Tigers went from hoops to hijinks, practicing their skills while mid-flight, fighting it out on a plane. The number 11 basketball team was reportedly involved in an altercation mid-air while traveling on the team plane to Houston, the home of the number 4 ranked team in the nation. That was before they played in that ball game. According to a report by WBRC in Alabama, the team engaged in a fight during the flight, prompting the plane to divert just minutes after takeoff in the afternoon. When asked about the level of threat that necessitated the emergency landing, the pilot deadpanned, "We have a group of basketball players fighting." I have a few minutes later, air traffic control once again inquired about the threat level from the pilot. "The flight deck is secure," the pilot reportedly said. "The threat level is contained for the moment. We'll have police on the ground, and we had 2 players that were getting into a physical altercation. Clothes were ripped." It's kind of crazy, the pilot added. WBRC reported that legal restrictions prevent them from sharing the audio. So, and then also the plane went back to Auburn approximately 40 minutes after takeoff. ESPN said that the situation on the flight was resolved successfully before any serious incidents took place. So, I don't know, man. That's kind of, how do I say it? Stupid. You're on a plane in the air. You're fighting, Elijah, what's your take on this, man?
Man, you said it best. It's stupid. I mean, do we not care about safety? You're like you're like feet in the air, thousands of feet in the air, and you just decide, you know what? You made me mad on the way here. When we get this plane in the air, we're gonna fight, bruh. Take care of that when you land. Get to the hotel. What are you doing on a plane? Now, I'm pretty sure people had fights on planes before. Professional teams, to be exact. I'm pretty sure it happened. Who knows? I mean, when stories come out, they probably will. But this is embarrassing for it to come out, though. I mean, like we just talked about on the last segment. You're pretty much a kid. But you know right from wrong when you get to college, and you know that not to put your hands on each other, but especially on an aeroplane. You know what I mean? Like, where I don't even know where they were fighting at. I don't know if it's by the emergency exit door or if it was like,
which that would have been real crazy.
Pilot, which was stupid, right? But it's like, what are you doing, man? Was it? What is the fight? What was it? What was it over? Huh? Was he kicking you in the back? Was he snoring on the plane? Huh? Was it that deep? Is what I'm asking. Because, I mean, you got other people's lives in your hands on this airplane, and you decide that you want to just go ahead and just throw blows or whatever you want to do. I think I'm not the guy that's going to say that gives out discipline, but I think these guys should be suspended for a couple of games, and by a couple, I mean 10 to 15. And I think they should have some actions behind this because honestly, this is very stupid. You're in the air. I know teams fight all the time. They do it during camp. They do it during the season, but they don't do it on an airplane. So I think Auburn should look into that. Possibly suspension. I hope that none of them get detained or anything. That's the worst thing. And what can happen. I don't know if the pilots could press charges of stuff like that. But I just hope that a suspension comes, a little sit them outside, and then from now on out, not to fight on planes, and that goes for all the other colleges as well in professional teams if they're doing
Yeah.
it. Don't fight
Yeah.
on.
I'm not Bruce Pearl at all, but if it had been me, I'd have told them boys we going Greyhound for the rest of the season. We on the Greyhound. We not even getting on a chartered bus. We getting on the Greyhound. We gonna sit with the general public. All right, next stop, Houston. We get there. How long the bus ride? 15 hours? Let's do it. Because a lot of times these guys just don't understand how, how blessed they are for those opportunities. I played Division III college football, and we never got on a plane. We had a bus that we had to get on for every single trip. I remember we had a bus trip to Sorrel State, which is like it's like right there on the edge of Texas, almost in Mexico, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. And I want to say that drive was like 15 to 17 hours or something like that. God knows I would have loved to fly that, get on a plane and do that, and I would have been just as happy and sitting down and like, bro, they tell you to sit down. They tell you to be strapped into your seatbelts. What could you have possibly been fighting about to say, you know what? Click, let me get up, and we finna squabble. And then even if you weren't fighting for real, like, I heard some people say that it could have been just horse playing, but like, if that's the case, then you really stupid. Why y'all playing on this plane? We in the air. If you fool around and hit this emergency exit, ain't no more Auburn basketball team. It's a wrap. It's over. Bro, what are you talking about? Be more conscious, fellas. We're not going to condemn them because they're young men and they make mistakes. We've all made mistakes in life. We all make mistakes in life, and we, as we live. But just don't do that no more. Don't do it no more. Don't be fighting on the plane. Sit down, keep your hands and feet inside of your seat. Snacks and drinks will be provided, and we'll be there and landing. Because what, they flying from Auburn, Alabama to Houston? What is that, like a 2-hour flight?
Yeah,
you
so.
Can't sit down for 2 hours. Eat that? Man, look here. I'm finna get this pillow. All right, I'll see y'all, boys.
How long they supposed to sit down for, bro?
2 hours max, bro. Then I'm gonna wake up. Hold up. Where them little cookies at? That's the only reason I'm waking up. Where's them little cookies and my apple juice? And I'm going right back to sleep. That's it.
The Biscoff cookies. The Biscoff cookies.
Them Biscoff cookies? You hear, man, look, if plenty of times we'd have been on flights, me and my wife, I'd tell her, wake me up. I don't care how mad I get at you. When they ain't if you let me sleep through these cookies, we gonna be fighting on this plane. We're gonna be like that. Maybe that's what it was. We've solved the issues, ladies and gentlemen. The boys was sitting in the seat, and the Biscoff cookies came around, and his homie didn't wake him up, so they started fighting. You know what? I have a whole different perspective. I ain't mad at you, player. I ain't mad at you because them cookies is worth now. They not worth fighting over.
You think I'm crazy? The Biscoff cookies so good. I'm gonna go get the ice cream. I got the ice cream in my freezer, bro.
Biscoff cookie ice cream is insane. That is crazy. No, I got to see this. Biscoff cookie ice cream. I don't think they make everything into ice cream now. No, they got
Shut that thing out.
That's crazy, bro. That's insane.
Come on.
Where you got that from, though?
Target.
Hey, Jasmine, we gonna make a run to Target to get some Biscoff ice cream at some point. Just know that.
Hey,
Say
hey,
less.
and they good too, bro. They good, bro. And they only got like I want to say about 6 of them coming here. Me
Say
and
less.
Carrot, me and Carrot tear these things up.
Say less. Say less. That's all I need to do. That's all I need to know. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round out our flyout take. While talking about last week, we talked about Young Thug being released from prison. This week, we're talking about another rapper that is in prison, as Lil Durk has received new charges in his murder for hire case. 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms and a machine gun and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. Elijah, you a little bit more hipped on what exactly happened all in this situation and case. Hit me to this a little bit better so I can comment on this a little bit better, but
So
it sounds crazy. That's all I know.
my understanding of it all is that I watch YouTube, so I ain't wearing a wire. But what happened was, what I was understanding was, he found out that Quando Rondo, who had some type of involvement with King Von's death, was in L.A. He flew out to L.A. once he heard he got the news. Guys from Chicago, who he had on his OTF record label, was like, "Hey," he called him, "Hey, murder for hire type ordeal," allegedly, and then flew him out to San Diego. So it didn't like it was L.A., but he had the flight in his name. He had the people real names that flew out there. They went out there, drove 2 hours up north. Shot Quando Rondo friend. He paid him, went away. Now here's the thing: machine guns, handguns, Tommy guns. I don't know, bro. You sound like you going to war. I mean, you was aiming for one guy. But it sound like you know something that we don't know. Like we going back to Iraq type ordeal. Because you having all this artillery is that's tough, Dirk. But with you getting more charges. I mean, that's the feds. They're gonna get you on something. They add more charges because they want to get you on something. But hopefully that you get out on a plea deal, or you get out innocent. However you get out, I hope you do. But right now, bro, it's not looking too good because they're just charging you with more and more stuff. That eventually they're gonna get one. They may not get all 7 of them, but they'll get one. And if they get one, that one could keep you in there for a long time. So
yeah, I think they said he facing life imprisonment, man.
yeah.
I don't know. He took that Power episode that he was in a little too serious for me. Golly, boy, you what I said? He got some guns on y'all. Golly. Hey, man, I am not a proponent of hiring people to commit murder and all this stuff like that. I understand that was your homie, and you wanted your get back and all this stuff like that. But our young men, brothers, we got to do better, cause this young man, regardless of if he get off for this or not, we literally was just talking about this last week. Young Thug has to deal with all of this stuff for another 15 to 20 years of his life. Mm-hmm. We need to forget all the rap stuff for a second. We talking about real life. Regardless of if he get off on this or not, he gonna have to deal with this stuff for a very long time. And if he gets charged and convicted and sentenced, bro, you not getting out. Ain't no more Lil Durk. Ain't no more. What's his real name? Let me look that up real quick. Because it ain't gonna be no Lil Durk no more. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be the Devontae. It's gonna be Dirk Devontae Banks. That's it. Ain't gonna be no Lil Durk.
Yeah.
Dirk Devontae. Lil Didi. That's what it's gonna be. Lil Didi. Lil Didi Banks. Y'all heard what happened to Lil Didi. He go, bro, that's what it's finna be.
You heard that happen, Lil Didi.
I'm telling you, man. And it look, if he is completely innocent of this stuff,
Yeah.
you still need to evaluate who you are around. Who are your surroundings, bro? I know a lot of times us as a people, black people, we get on and we make it and we try to put our homies on that was back with us in the struggle, back with us when we was, having hard times and all that stuff like that. And a lot of them don't want to change. And, I'm not saying to turn your back on them. I'm not saying to cut them off, but just evaluate how close you keep them to your circle. Because if you ain't about that life and they gonna bring that life into your life. And if you the money maker, if you are the cash cow, that's gonna mess it up. And then I also want to say this: if you are the guys that are eating off of the cash cow, or you gotta know your role too. If it's as simple as making sure that he not in any situations that could get him caught up, DUIs, shootings, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. If your job is to be his designated driver when he go out, that's what you need to do. Especially if he paying for your chartered flight, he paying for you to stay in lavish hotels, he paying for you to have all of the latest drip. You walking around in a Miri, YSL. You ain't never had none of this stuff before in your life, but you eating off of your homeboy right now. You need to play your role. So hopefully, man, that situation will all get cleared up. It's probably gonna be a while. Young Thug was on trial for 2 years.
Yeah.
We probably gonna see this with Lil Durk for some time, man. We will be in a different year for sure by the time all this stuff gets sorted out. We'll see how it all unfolds. We'll see. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close out the show with our Fitz Take. This weekend, we saw 2 instances, but this is not the first time that it's happened, where fans were throwing objects onto the football field. When the Colorado Buffaloes played against Texas Tech, the fans threw tortillas onto the field, which is kind of weird, like eat them on a taco, bro. Like, what do you, But then also LSU, when they were playing Alabama, a call happened. I can't remember exactly what it was, but people started throwing bottles onto the football field. Elijah, take off with this one. How do you feel about this? And ultimately, how do you stop this from happening?
Man, you gotta. I just don't like it, man. I know, I wasn't at the LSU Alabama game last night, but I can go back to the LSU Ole Miss game where they gave them these little flashing things, and LSU fans were just throwing them on the field, man. And thankful none of them hit me, but fans do stuff like that. Texas a while back against a couple weeks ago against Georgia, they were throwing stuff on the field because they didn't agree with the call. Look, man, yeah, it's okay to be upset at the referees. Sometimes they need to get their vision checked too. It's okay to be upset as a fan because you want everything to go your way. You didn't pay money to walk in that stadium and watch your team lose. I get it. But at the same time, you got to think about the safety of these players, the safety of these coaches, the safety of these referees. Now, words will be said all the time. For instance, Fitz, you heard it yesterday. Arkansas State walk on the field, and they were saying some words to those Arkansas State players and people. I'm okay with that. But if you start throwing stuff, or you start throwing any type of object that's near you that could harm these guys, I don't see why they can't go on the field and Ron Artest you. I don't see why they can't go up there and Steven Jackson you. Go into the stands and Steven, because you hit them. And now you're giving them a reason to go hit you. And fans, I need you to think about that for a second. These athletes aren't your size. They're not my size either. These athletes are 9 times out of 10, about 6'2", 220-something pounds, 3% body fat, 97% muscle, and all they take is one strike. Think about it. Was it worth the tortilla for you to have a black eye? Was it worth a tortilla for you to be hit into a coma? Wasn't worth it. It wasn't. So at the end of the day, you have to respect these players. I'm okay with trash talk, and I'm okay with people throwing up signs, having signs at the games and stuff like that. I'm okay with stuff like that. That's fine. That's part of the game. You know, but throwing stuff, endangering other people, um, that's not what I'm okay with for these fans. And I think that these fans need to start thinking about it. I don't know what kind of disciplinary things they can have for fans that do stuff like this. I guess they can ban them. I guess I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that they should start cracking down on stuff like this because again, this can turn into a bigger situation than what everybody wants, especially the NCAA. They don't. The NCAA is they like their money. They don't like to spend it, but they like to keep it. So I think they need to start cracking down on what they need to do.
Absolutely, man. There's growing up, I'm sure we all heard it. Our parents probably told us this as a young child. You're going to school. They said, keep your hands to yourself. They could have added on to that. Keep all your items that belong to you to yourself as well. Bro, what you throwing a water bottle for? What if you a grown man? A grown man. I'm not talking about a teenager. I'm not talking about a college student. College student, I give them by this much leeway because if your mom and them raised you right, you should know better. But if you are a grown adult throwing stuff onto a football field because you don't like something, you need your entire butt kicked. The whole thing with a foot the size of Shaq's. You need it kicked. Because what are you doing? It's not that serious. I get it. As a fan, you're a fanatic. You're crazy about this team. You are behind them 100%. You want to see them win at all costs, whatever it takes. But brother, sister, you 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 not a part of this on the field. Your role is to scream real loud and cause ruckus for the opposing team. That's it. That is it. So, you had to shut up and dribble. I can't tell you to shut up and cheer. So sit down and cheer. Stand up and cheer. Whatever. Stay in your seats and cheer. Do that. Refrain from throwing items onto the field. That's why we go into these, we go into concerts, we go into football games, basketball games, and you go and get a drink, and they telling you to take the cap off of it. They telling you to pop it open beforehand because they want to make sure that you're not throwing a bottle cap at a concert. You're not throwing the water bottle at a sporting event. But you know what? LSU started something because they have it now. It's like a face scan for like every person in the stadium. They can take a picture and they can zoom in and see the people's face, which was gonna happen. And you heard it here first on the Fitz Take Podcast. What's gonna happen is they're gonna put a camera that's saying because technology is continuing to advance. If they can take a picture, video is coming. They're gonna start putting video cameras in there. And the same way that they can snap a picture of your license plate and send you a ticket in the mail, what you think coming from the football game? You're gonna get you a nice little slip in the mail that says, don't bring your butt back to Tiger Stadium. If you do, we have your picture posted up on the walls. You will be escorted by big, strong men. In that order. So I say to all fans, not just LSU fans, to all fans across college football, professional sports, high school, middle school, little league, pee wee. Sit down, stand up and cheer. Stay in your seat and cheer. Don't throw nothing. Don't toss nothing. Don't even think about it. Just cheer and boo. Cheer and boo. That's all you need to do. Have fun. That's it. Have a good time. Drink your couple beers. Look, have you a good time. Give you something to eat. Watch the game. That's it. Because you're ruining sporting events because of this. And it's showing a level of entitlement that I get it. You're paying your hard-earned money, so you feel that you should have a voice in some of this. But that's it. You should have a voice, not a not a swinging fight. That's what the players for. Let them do that down there. Let them do all the tussling and bustling and bumping down there. That's what they do on the field. Let them block and tackle. Let them shoot the jumpers. Let the hockey players fight. Like your role is to sit in the chair, stand, and cheer and boo. And that's it. So that's our take on this, ladies and gentlemen. What's yours? How do we stop fans from throwing items onto fields, onto courts, at these sporting events? How do we get this stopped? Because it has to. Because what's going to happen is somebody's going to get hurt, and a rule is going to get put out. Unfortunately, that's how laws and rules and things are unfortunately made. Something has to happen. So something is going to happen. Somebody's going to get hit, and unfortunately, that is going to cause a lot to happen. So we got to get out in front of this. Y'all tell us what you think down in the comments. We would greatly appreciate that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up our 14th episode. Can't believe we got to this point, guys, but we've continued to build, and we greatly appreciate y'all so much for getting us to this point as we wrap up yet another episode of the Fitz Take Podcast. Again, make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment under this video. Make sure you share it. But most importantly, Elijah, what do they need to do?
Subscribe.
Yeah, do that. Make sure you do that for the channel for us. We would greatly appreciate y'all. As we approach closer and closer to 300 subs, we might do another giveaway. You never know. So y'all keep subbing to the channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to sub to the channel. Also follow us on Spotify, where you can listen in on the podcast as well. Also follow me and Elijah and my production company on our social media platforms that will be linked down in the description. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we thank y'all so much for tuning in and supporting this channel. Signing out for Elijah Nixon, I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take Podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take Podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.